For question 8, before we get into the question, you need to know the difference between partial and semi-partial, which we can see on the question. We can see here that when we go up to correlations, we see all our models here, and we go up to correlations. There is zero order, partial, and part. Part also means semi-partial. It's literally just the same thing. So before we go into question 8, we're going to go through the meanings of the three of these, starting with partial. So partial is basically when you remove the effect of other predictors from both of the variables and then correlate what's left. So that's a little bit confusing. So in like simpler English, if everyone had the same GPA and first year exam score, would working memory capacity still relate to final year score? So if everyone had the same score for both GPA and FYE, they were both the same, would working memory capacity still correlate with final year score? So basically, we are removing the overlap of GPA and FYE from this and this. So because in this question, we are simply just looking for the relationship, the strength of the relationship between first final year score and working memory capacity, but we have to clean both of these first to see the strength of this relationship. So you're kind of getting a raw variance of final year score. You're getting a raw outcome because you're removing the overlap from the outcome, and you're seeing this in its raw form as well, because working memory capacity still overlaps with these two without the outcome. Like GPA and first year exam would still affect working memory capacity. So we need to remove the effect that has on working memory capacity to see the strength of the raw relationship between these two variables here, because that's what the question is asking. We can break it down further and make it simpler and basically say, do these two being these two here, what the question is asking, do these two still relate if I remove the influence of all other variables from both of them? So we're removing the influence from all other variables being GPA and first year exam from both final year score and working memory capacity, because to get the raw variance we need to remove the influence and the effect the other variables have on both of these. So if we look at this in an exam context, partial is basically asking, does it still relate? If we removed all other variables, do these two things still have a strong relationship? If the question asks after controlling for, we use partial. So just keep that in mind for the exam question, because you will immediately know whether to use semi-partial or partial if you look at the wording of the question. So now we're going to move on to semi-partial. So all you really need to remember with partial is it's asking for the strength of the relationship. Do these two still relate if we remove everything else? That's basically what partial is asking in like the simplest form. So now we're going to look at semi-partial or part. So the difference is that semi-partial removes the effect from only the predictor, leaving the outcome unchanged. So part removed the influences from both the predictor and the outcome, the predictor being working memory capacity and the outcome being final year score. But in this case, semi-partial removes the effect from just the predictor, and you get the full outcome with all the variants included. So in simpler English, what new information does working memory capacity add to predicting final year score? So in turn, it cleans working memory capacity, leaving final year score unchanged, and it sees how much extra prediction we get from just working memory capacity. So how much extra does this one variable add to explaining the outcome? That's literally it in simple English. Just remember this sentence. How much extra does it add? So in an exam context, if the question asks for unique variance being like the separate and independent addition of one variable, or percentage explained. So in a lot of the time the question will ask like, what percentage of variance does working memory capacity add to predicting final year score? So in that context, if it uses any of these phrases, use part or semi-partial. So the difference between these three different types of correlation then is partial asks, does it still relate? So do these two variables still relate if all overlap is removed? Semi-partial asks, how much extra does it add? So how much extra does this one variable add to the overall outcome? Removing overlap from just the predictor as well. So zero order then is very easy to understand. Zero order is just a plain correlation between the two variables, and it includes all the overlap with other variables. So that's without like taking anything out. That's just the normal plain correlation between the two variables. So in this case, the two variables are WMC and FYE, and that includes all the overlaps such as GPA or the first year exam scores. It includes all of that. So it's without taking anything out, while these two clean things up and remove influence of other variables in different contexts, obviously. But yeah, so basically, if you think of these then and you just learn these off, learn the difference between these, question 8 will be easy. So question 8 asks, in Model 3, what percentage of the raw variance in final year score appears to be uniquely accounted for by both GPA and FYE? So it is specifically looking for Model 3, and as we know, if the question asks for uniquely accounted for, that's always going to be part or semi-partial. So to find the part correlation, we go down here to Model 3, and we go up here to correlations, and we go to part, and we find FYE and GPA. So the part for FYE is 0.150, and the part for GPA is 0.214. So we put that down then, as you can see, part FYE and part GPA. And then to find the percentage, because the question does also ask for a percentage, you need to square them. So 0.150 squared is 0.0225, and 214 squared is 0.0458. So there are percentages, 2.25% and 4.58%. So if we add those together, we get 6.8%. And if we go up to our question 8 again, you can see that we have the correct answer then as 6.8%.